What's going on, everybody? Today is Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. This is podcast number 54. Somehow we have done 54 of these damn things, but fall is coming. Football is just tomorrow, but before we get too deep into it, we gotta be happy. We're gonna go with the Walters Happy theme this week. Walters, who are we?
Welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix.
That's awkward.
With your lovely hostesses, Garlic Johnson.
We're gonna need to take a break here while I change my pants.
Josh Mitchell.
Sitting here undefeated in everything I do, except fantasy football. No, I'm not allowed to handle crayons.
Not after last time.
Not after last time.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Garlic and Josh.
No, you couldn't hear it, Josh, but I'm sorry. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. I am joined by our other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Say hi to the folks, Josh.
Not lovely enough to hear our intro, so there's that.
Josh, it's a very delicate process, okay? And I still haven't mastered how to do everything the right way, so I had to sacrifice your listening for 30 seconds. My apologies. Anywho, you can find us if you ever want to reach out or engage the show. You can send an email to hiddenokesoverdose@gmail.com. Words are hard. You can go to facebook.com/hoodpod or anchor.fm/hoodpod to leave us 1-minute voicemails. We are on our journey to 100 subscribers. And Josh, on November last week, but last week we were almost taken aback by the Blake Brigade that came across the stream. Okay.
Well, hang on. So we had 16. Are we up to 15 now?
Josh, even better than up to 15. We are up to 20 since last Wednesday. We started last Wednesday at 16. We are now at 20 subscribers. We are 1/5 of the way to our 100 subscriber goal.
I'm sure Blake went out, told all his friends, and now they're listening live, right?
Yeah, we got the Blake bump at +4, so that feels good. So be a friend, tell a friend. We want to get to 100 subs so we can get our custom Earl, because the one we have right now is ugly. The segment start times are down in the description below for all you people who want to skip around and listen to what you want to listen to. I get it. For YouTube, it's not quite as friendly. If you're listening to the audio pod, they're right there for you. They should line up just about perfect. I round down to the nearest 5 seconds, so sometimes you'll have to listen to some seconds
of 45th minute.
One of us saying about something, but that's about it. Levi Oki illustration, thank you so much for the beautiful art. Josh, how are we doing today?
Grand. I actually had to do a lot of work, so I'm a little bit fried right now.
What, like work or woodwork work, or what kind of work could work Josh? If wood Josh could work Josh?
Work, because as you know, we're in kind of a pandemic in the world.
What?
And
when?
So Thursday, Friday, I don't know. And so we have a project that's starting next Tuesday, and we found out it was starting a couple weeks or a week and a half ago. Well, this is also the project that we took months to prepare for back in January and February because we needed the preparation time to get clients ready. Well, we did all that and we didn't have a start date. Now all their stuff expired, so I got to spend 2 days to do what I did in 2 months.
You sound like just the guy for the job.
Yeah. How are you doing, Gar?
No, Josh, you don't ask me that question enough because I'd like to tell you. No, I'm just kidding. I am doing fine. It is fall is here. It's getting like I am normally. If anyone knows me, I'm not much of a jacket or an overcoat guy. Like usually it takes until the deep of winter to get me wearing a jacket or even like a light windbreaker. But I have
sleeves.
I have already. I mean, I'm not wearing sleeves inside because let's not be silly. But I have already broken out a quarter zip that I wear to and from work. I even put it on in the office every once in a while. So the fall has hit me hard this year for some reason. It's certainly not because I've lost weight, because that is not the case one bit. So I don't know what's happening, but the fall has hit me harder than it does. Oh. No, that is not a gas can. That is a bag. Actually, so I guess I never said it on the pod because I didn't really need to, but as people would know, sometime listener of the pod, Jordan Bates is engaged. And when I was most recently in the, or 2 times ago, when I was most recently in the cities, he asked me to be his officiant / groomsman. So I'll be performing Jordan's marriage, currently scheduled for next summer. And that's the bag the gift came in. And actually, Josh, I'll ask you to vamp for a sec because I'll just grab the gift because it's actually kind of cool.
All right, sounds good. Well, gonna guess that I'm not invited to this if I didn't hear about it, but vamping and vamping and vamping. And yeah, so that's how you cure cancer.
I think what you said as I put my headset down is that you already saw it because I didn't send a snap of it to the greasy fucks, but just in case you haven't seen it or didn't pay attention, it's right there. Got custom Xbox controller. You probably won't be able to read that engraving, but it says BITW right there. So a little shout out to words I am contractually obligated to never say again, based on an event that happened in 2013. But
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. A lot of people were there.
Yeah,
that's probably funny. But go ahead.
I'm sure. I mean, you said Jordan's a sometimes listener, so if he does listen to that part, he heard me say, "I'm sure I didn't get invited." So,
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you didn't invite him to your wedding, so.
I mean, he was out of the country.
Did you invite him though, Josh? Is the thought that counts? Did you send him an invite and ask him to RSVP?
Do you know how expensive invites are? I mean, I'm sure.
I really have no idea.
If he's not invited me, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I wish him the best of luck. I will say that they are expensive, and I understand. And a napkin with crayon and my name on it is just as good.
All right. I'm sure he won't listen to this, but in case he does, you have stated your case eloquently. Josh, would you like to move on to the Fan Tasty Zone? Do you think we're ready? Are we ready for the Fan Tasty Zone?
I do. I'm just going to go ahead and say that my Fan Tasty is, I actually have a sponsor this week.
Oh.
It is a perfect representation of how I feel after this work week so far. And this is what I like to call one beer.
That thing, I mean, the camera distorts it a bit, but that thing looks thick with at least 3 C's.
It's a 750 milliliter brewski.
This, for everyone's reference, this Strawberry Arnold Palmer, also a sponsor of the Fan Tasty Zone. This, everyone is familiar with these cans. This thing is only 680 milliliters. So this giant can is less than what Josh has cooked. That thing is bigger than his hand. Brett Favre couldn't hold that thing with one hand.
Sure as hell couldn't drink it either.
Yeah, so we got that big beer Josh is drinking. We got the Strawberry Arnold Palm. And Josh, you know I was in the city this last weekend, right? I didn't really see anybody except for Brad, but you know I was around, right?
Yeah, you ventured.
Yeah, so I mean, you know I'm a fan of the Quick Trip, right? Used to be a classic podcast tradition. Nice stash. Nice stash. This is also an audio pod, so there's only so many gags you can do. But Josh, dude, what is something I used to get almost every Wednesday on my way to the pod? You're familiar. I'd grab myself an Arnie, and what else would I grab?
I mean, you'd usually grab me cheese and beef stick.
Okay, for myself, I'm not gonna send you cheese and beef stick.
Some sort of, was it like a pumpkin cake or some sort of cake of some kind? Carrot.
This podcast also brought to you by the exact cinnamon roll frosted pumpkin bar. This thing had the loudest as shit plastic that I'll just open into the mic to be inconvenient, but I'll also be snacking on these throughout the pod. Got them for old time's sake, because that's probably the last time we'll be down in the cities until like Thanksgiving, if I had to guess. So
no. You're don't want to put the chains on the tires if you don't have to.
Christ, Josh, it's I'm trying to get my boss to let me work from home, and they're just not biting yet. So we'll have to see what the old Nissan can do. Anywho, we've been talking about our sponsors for way too long. Josh, we did get one email this week for the Fan Tasty Zone. Did you happen to read the email?
I did not, because I'd like to be surprised.
We received it yesterday. Do you want to read it like just as it goes, or do you want me to read it to you, Josh? Because I know what it says.
I want you to read it to me because I don't have it pulled up.
Well, at least you're honest. Okay. So, Josh, this email comes in from, no surprise, Brian Knupp, okay? So last week, we reached out to Brian during the Fan Tasty Zone because he had proposed us some bets, and then I had countered, right? And then Brian hadn't responded until, I guess, last Tuesday is when I reached out to him. So I replied to the email with our email account. I was like, Brian, you haven't responded yet. Here are our counters, because we countered his bet proposals. And so here's what Brian's response to my response is with the counter offers.
Stuck in a ditch, too drunk, can't read.
Classic Brian Knupp response. So that's the first two lines, and then after that he puts, "Dear Mr. Garlic, my proposals were made off of to your 256 show." So already his drunkenness is showing through this email. My proposals were made off of to your... Brian, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's not even me fucking that up. That's you, pal. Anyways, the 256 show. Like most listeners, I took diligent notes. This is where my proposals came from. I want New York, New York. Josh says between the two, they win 7. Gar says between the two, they win 3. Both have the pack at 12. What am I missing? I am already spotting you a minimum of 5 games, and you want an extra game for the pack? You smoking big hog. That's the sentence there. You smoking big hog. KC, you have them at 15 and 14 wins. I am giving you over 13.5. Again, being generous. And your response? We have had the conversation about being a potty mouth in the past. If you don't remember, my response was fuck off with the KC proposal. Lastly, you two have the Titans at 12 and 13. I say over 11.5. Again, giving away at least half a game. And you counter with 10? I listen to the Hoodcast to be well informed and take what the two of you say as gospel. Now what do I believe? Or are you taking advantage of an old man? Proposals stand. Love the Grum. Brian Knupp, phone number, email. This time he appears to have included his credit card number and expiration date. However, he left off the 3-digit code on the back, so...
Yeah, the CSV. What are we supposed to do?
I don't have the zip code either. I mean, we can assume the zip code, but I mean, yeah, without that 3-digit code, Brian, this is useless and you know it. I mean, you're just teasing us. We got the credit, we got the social. Let's get some of the good stuff. Bank PIN, CSV, or CVV, whatever it is. We need the good shit.
CVS, yeah.
Yeah, throw in the CVS. Why the hell not? So anyways, Josh, his proposals stand. I think Brian is trying to take advantage of us, okay? We in the 256 show, we made it very clear that we were at best 75% accurate. I think I was just 70% accurate. So even if he's taking our guesses at their word, he should have a built-in knowing that there's a variance of, 25%. And out of, I don't know what 25% of 16 game is. What is that, 4 games? So there's a 4-game variance in what we guess. And he's taking us at exactly our word. I mean, for KC and the Titans, he's giving us no room. I tried to get a little bit of wiggle room. And the pack and New York thing, I get it. But so Josh, given that his original proposals stand, are you interested in any of them?
Oh.
All right. Well, Brian, just because I will not be taken advantage of and you're going to stand your ground, for the bit, for the content, I will formally accept your New York and New York versus the pack straight wins bet. So I think the Packers will have more wins than the Jets and the Giants combined. That is a $5 bet. Josh, go ahead. Go leave right now. Go grab that whiteboard. Put this bet on the bet board. It's official. Don't actually do that, but I accept your one bet. Oh, he would take any excuse to leave, wouldn't he? Oh, he's got the whiteboard right there. He doesn't even have to leave the room. Okay. Here we go. Now let's see if Josh bumps a bunch of things and disconnects his audio like he did last time. He has appeared to not have bumped anything yet. Josh is doing much better than last time he grabbed the whiteboard. Josh, how do we feel about the whiteboard? Do you see the marker?
No, I think I forgot it.
Oof. I mean, that's tough, but we can move on without it. Just know that Josh, in theory, in spirit, put the bet on the official bet board.
Yep, no, the board, it's up there. Here, listen to me right. Scritchy, 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 scritch, scritch.
Is that what you writing sounds like?
I mean, yeah. What does yours sound like?
You're right. That's exactly. I mean, that sounded like a basketball game, what you just did, but it could also be writing on a whiteboard, I suppose.
I mean, it's very close.
Anyways, Brian, one of your bets has been accepted. I expect another email next week, because otherwise we don't have much to go on in the Fantasy Zone. So please email us, Brian. We are desperate. But yes, one of your bets has been accepted by Garlic. Josh decided to abstain, and I respect it, because I will probably lose $5. But I'm willing to stick my neck out there for the bit, and it can give Brian some good ammo throughout the season.
How many cinnamon spice or cinnamon flavored pumpkin bars is that?
Ooh, so it's I think it would be 4. It's 4 for $4.49. So I could get a box of 4 pumpkin bars for that $5 bet.
So
And I normally eat 2, so that's 2 weeks worth.
So what you're saying is if you lose this bet, there's going to be 2 weeks of just piss poor, angry garlic.
Yeah, because I won't have my pumpkin bars that are frosted. Absolutely.
Okay. Just know what you've created, Brian, if this happens.
Yeah. You see what you've done. You see what you've done. All right, that was the Fan Tasty Zone. Josh, you ready to move on to the brand new segment that we're finally doing, the 2-minute drill?
Yeah.
All right, Josh, let's give a pop quiz to Josh. Josh, do you remember the origin of the 2-minute drill? Why are we doing it? What is it supposed to be? Why does this segment exist?
Well, you see, back in 1943, the 2-minute drill came into existence when Mr. Twan Minute, he happened to be Arabic.
Arabic, huh?
Yep. I'm sorry, but
and YouTube just took down our stream for some reason. That's weird.
Sorry, I had background ad playing. Yeah, the Arabian Night. He had 75 papayas that needed to be carved.
75 papayas, okay?
Wow, I mean, it was a big deal. It's a big dinner.
Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't heard this story. Yeah.
No, did you not go to grade school?
I must not have.
They teach it in grade 10.
Oh, well, I only got my grade 9 so far, boss.
But so he had 75 papayas to get through. And so they handed him some dual swords, some dual katanas, even though I don't know, what generation that thing, just things, swords, sharp objects scare me. And they set out all 75 papayas and they said, we want the shape of a football field. And he took those swords and in 1 minute, 59 seconds, managed to shape those papayas into a football field. Hence, the 2-minute drill was born.
Wow, that story was not only coherent, but entirely airtight and factual through and through. Josh, thank you for delivering the facts to the people. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So now that the 2-minute drill is done, do we move on or?
Well, believe it or not, that was not the 2-minute drill. That was just the origin story. This isn't the first time we're doing it. I figured I'd tell people what's going on.
Okay, now what's the fake origin story that you're going to tell everybody it's based off of?
The government-based story that the government's been peddling for years, the deep state, has been telling people that the 2-minute drill exists because the podcast for the first year, and then definitely it got much worse in the second year, got bloated to the point where we would take half the podcast to talk about real NFL games and Homer news and what we're excited for this week and next week. And, we're a football podcast, but to one listener's point, and we won't give him credit because he's being kind of mean right now in the emails. He's a little feisty, but to one listener's point,
that just gave it away. We only have one emailer.
Josh, and I definitely agreed that anyone who pays attention to football gets all the Homer news 24/7 anyways. They're hearing it on the radio, they're watching it on the news. There's only a couple of the casual league members that would listen, so like a Jamie or Nikita that might be listening to less of the real football news, so it'd be valuable to them. But I'd say the great majority of our listeners already have a great pulse of what's going on because they go out of their way to do it. It's not just force-fed to them. So we're just regurgitating a lot of stuff for the majority of our listeners. So even at the expense of a couple that would get value out of what we're saying, we have taken all of that down, and now each week Josh and I will get 1 minute each to talk about the week before and 1 minute each to talk about the week coming up. So this is going to give us a great exercise to try and be creative. I think Josh is probably going to write a haiku or read some poetry or something for some of them, but we get 60 seconds to talk about whatever we want, whether it's our Homer team or whatever just happened last week. For other teams, could be fantasy related, could be real football related. It doesn't matter. We have a minute platform each to go. And Josh, have you prepared for this? Because I didn't see any notes on it, so I don't know if you were actually ready for this or not.
Did you not listen to my explanation of what a 2-minute drill was?
Is that what you're going to say again during the 2-minute drill?
Yeah, word for word, stutter for stutter.
All right. Well, Josh, we'll dive right in then. So the way I've set this up is for this week, because I only made one audio file out of laziness, I will go first. So there will be an initial whistle. The first person will go after they hear the first whistle. Okay, they have 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, there will be a second whistle stopping the first talker. There will then be a third whistle, which will prompt the second person to start talking. And then after the third whistle, you will have 60 seconds to talk, and then you will then be stopped by a fourth whistle. So do you understand? Whistle, I talk, whistle. Whistle, you talk, whistle. You got it?
Got it.
It's pretty complex.
Wait, hang on. What's a whistle?
Well, Josh, we are going to be listening to the Fox 40 Classic P-less whistle. It is the official whistle of the NFL, in case you were wondering. I don't know if you knew that about the Fox 40 Classic. Kind of a big fucking deal in the whistle world, Josh. Are you familiar with whistles?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't feel like you were respecting the Fox 40 Classic right there, so I just want to put you in your place a little bit in case, you weren't respecting the Fox 40. Okay. Anywho, there's no further ado. I haven't really prepared exactly what I'm going to say in the 60 seconds, so I'm just going to ramble for 60 seconds, but it'll only last for 60 seconds, so it'll be okay. Josh, let's make sure. Well, let me start. Do you hear this whistle? Did you hear that?
Was that a dog whistle?
Did you hear it or no?
No.
Okay. Do you hear it? Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're ready then. Josh can hear it. I hope it doesn't echo on the stream. It might, because I'm not a genius at this yet. But Josh, here we go. The first ever 2-minute drill. Let's see if I'm ready. All right. I'm going to take my first 60 seconds as we preview the NFL 2020 season to just thank Mike Zimmer. I appreciate everything he has done for this organization. The Brad Childress years, the Leslie Frazier years, they were rocky at best. Even if we don't win the Super Bowl under Mike Zimmer, under Rick Spielman, under Kirk Cousins, the stability he has given to this team and us constantly being in the conversation is worth its weight in gold. I don't care if we don't win. Really, I don't. Do you want to go back to Leslie Frazier years, back when we had the most players arrested in like a 3-year span in the entire NFL? I sure don't. Zimmer maybe gets more credit than he deserves, but he's the head guy, so I'm giving him all the credit without knowing all the staff that sits under him 24/7. Zimmer, I will ride or die with you till the end of time. Thank you for making me proud to be a Vikings fan, and I hope you bring us to the Super Bowl, but if not, that's okay too. And I think I'm just about done.
Welcome to Josh's 2-minute drill here. Good one, Gar. Got a little bit different tone of music going here, and just like my preparation, I had none. But here's what we got. I feel like this season's going to be filled with injuries to start because of the lack of preseason. Preseason is usually a time for those guys who are bubble fringe players to shine. I feel like we're not going to get that, and so these first couple of weeks are going to be kind of a lot of trial and error, minimal scheme, and so we're going to see a lot of different upsets. Upset number 1, I feel like Washington football team is going to come out the gate 2-0. Boom. That goes against my 256, Brian, so you might call me Mitt Romney, as Garlic does, but what do you know? I do think that there are going to be a lot of shockers this season. I don't know how it's going to shake out, but all I can say is football!
Ooh, I only forgot one thing to say in my notes, and I won't say it because that breaks the segment, but Josh, the first 2-minute drill is in the books. And to be fair, you gave me that music as an option. And if you thought I wasn't going to pick that music, you are a lunatic. You put like 7 to 9 music files out there, and I was like, if Josh doesn't think I'm gonna fucking pick this one, he is.
What was the title of that one?
Cat Circus. That was the Cat Circus.
Okay. That was, yeah. That might have been one of the first downloads I had that I sent to you. There were a few good ones in there. There was one that I couldn't find again after I started, because I started looking on my phone before I left for softball. And there was one that it actually made me do the slow smile, turn my head with joy type face. You know the one.
Yeah, I'm familiar. So anyways, I don't know if that's the same song you'll have next week, but at least it was funny for 1 week, and maybe it's Josh's permanent song. Who knows? But anyways, that was the 2-minute drill. Josh, now that we're a leaner, meaner, faster podcast, we're going to dive right into what segment, Josh?
Fantasy Fun Time, Week 1.
Hey, I think that was just about the right amount of pep. Maybe you'd want to be overly hyped for the first season and go real hog wild, but I think you did well.
Well, the kind of the tepid, I don't know what the correct word would be.
Tepid sounds good.
Energy. Yeah. Well, yeah. The Triceratops method of speaking there it was meant because I'm not sure how, like I said in my 2-minute drill, I'm not sure how the season's going to shake out. No preseason. This is a lot of guys' first time hitting hard, because I highly doubt that they've been sacking quarterbacks and doing full out in practice. So not necessarily excited, because the last thing I want to do is have 45 injuries week 1.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants that. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of why it was the tone that was set.
So Josh, how do we start the fantasy fun time and why?
Well, we're going to start with a grain of salt, because we are not paid to do what we were doing, but we are better than the experts and we want to prove it. Isn't that the slogan?
I think that's the exact slogan for the grain of salt. So yeah,
right.
Josh and I do lots of fantasy stuff. So we can't tell you how we've done just yet this year, and it's too late for me to go back and tell you how I did last year. But let's just say I know I made money playing fantasy last year. I was in, I think, 8 leagues last year, and I think I want to say I netted $200. So I think I put in 440 and came out with 680. I want to say. I think I might have netted 240. Either way, I made money playing fantasy last year, so I'm not a complete stooge. Josh, how'd you do playing fantasy last year, to your recollection?
I do recall making money as well. I took first, second, and third in 3 out of the 6 leagues I was in. So there's that. I made the playoffs in every league except for one, because apparently I'm never allowed to make the Deflate These Balls playoffs, despite having Todd Gurley in his prime, DeAndre Hopkins, Allen Robinson, Travis Kelce. You
sound like Connor. I guess he made the playoffs, but he just couldn't get it done twice. And the Umpire League started over, and you hate your team. So, I mean, it sounds like you're ripe for the playoffs this year.
Oh, I'm going to win 2 in a row right off the bat, just because that's how Kenyon Drake does.
Kenyon Drake does what Kenyon Drake does, because Kenyon Drake is Kenyon Drake. Anyways, grain of salt. This year, Josh, in a shocking turn of events, my number of fantasy leagues has gone down by 1. So last year I was in 8. This year I'm currently slated to be in just 7. Originally, I was going to lose 2 of my leagues, but at the last second, my current boss asked me to be in what I think is his family league. So that draft is tonight at 7. So I'm in his league, I guess. Just me trying to assimilate with the working people I work with. But that's a 16-person league, Josh. Officially the biggest league I've ever been in. And they have the classic 9 starters, and I think there's 6-7 bench spots. So I mean, there will be 0 waiver activity all year. I was gonna say you're gonna pick up Antonio Brown, and that's gonna be a solid pick in round 15. Josh, I haven't picked him up in any other league. It's not the worst thing. He might if I'm in the playoff hunt, he could be the guy to make a difference, because it sounds like he'll be in the league by week 9, but we'll find out. Anyways, Josh,
Josh Gordon's in the league right now. I'm just saying.
Also the 3rd wide receiver on a team that doesn't really need him.
Antonio Brown's the 0th receiver on 0 teams, because he's 0 talent.
Okay. Anyways, Josh, I don't believe you have your sheet up, but do you know off the top of your head how many fantasy leagues you're in this year?
6.
Ooh, 6. Is that the same as last year?
I think it is not, actually. I think I added 1. Although,
tell us about your new league, Josh.
It's a guillotine league.
Oh, that's right. The league I wasn't in Jordan's top 15 people to play fantasy with. The league I didn't get invited to. Just like the Mad League. Sweet, yeah. Tell me more about the guillotine league, Josh.
Oh, yeah. No, it was super cool. I think I was his first pick. It's interesting. So first off, it's on Paul Charchian's website, and all these scrubs followed his rankings.
I'm glad I'm not there.
Right? All these scrubs took his rankings to heart and drafted Alexander Madison before a Packers running back, Aaron Jones. They took Adam Thielen before DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones. I'm just kidding. Nobody's that stupid except for Paul Charchian. For those of you listening, Blake's friends, don't ever listen to a man named Paul Charchian. Just saying. Anyways, it'll be interesting. I don't know.
What is 16, a guillotine?
17.
What is a guillotine league?
Oh, I suppose that's probably what it is, where there's no head-to-head matchups. What it is it's everybody plays everybody. The lowest score each week gets eliminated. The players from that person's roster are then distributed, or not distributed, but then are then put up for bidding. So you have a $1,000 budget, I believe. Scoring is PPR, and so we got 17 teams in there because I believe it runs through week 17 or 16. I think it's 16 with how the math works out. But yeah, I mean, overall, we had the draft on Monday. I'm pretty happy with my team for a 17-team league. I'm just going to go through it real quick. Got Matt Ryan, Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Anthony Miller, and Jonnu Smith in my starting lineup. Got Jamal Williams, David Montgomery, Damian Harris, Joshua Kelly, Josh Gordon, memes, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling on the bench. So I don't think that's going to get me the bottom of the barrel, but hey,
so just guess your cut week. What week does the guillotine officially slice your neck? How far are you going to make it, boss?
Postseason. I'm calling my victory right now.
What does the postseason mean? Because obviously at no point do you ever get to the bracket, right? It's just last man standing. So what is the postseason?
Yeah. It means that I'm not going to get eliminated till the Super Bowl is over and the league has to end.
So you come... All right. I mean, yeah, if you're going to make it that far, Josh, that'd be good for you.
I mean, with my fantasy luck, I'll probably get outed week 2.
That's the spirit. That's the Josh I know, for sure.
All right,
Josh.
But then also, just throwing this out there, we had a draft last night while I was at softball, so I didn't get to make many picks. I made one pick for our team. So I don't know if I can technically sign in 6 leagues because I'm going to give all credit to my wife for the team she drafted.
Sounds like you're going to give her all credit, but also all the blame, the way you said that, Josh.
No, because I think that she did a great job drafting. She may have panicked after I told her, because in this league, it's 6 points per touchdown pass.
Okay.
And then there's ridiculous bonuses. I told her to take Patrick Mahomes in the second, and I didn't necessarily say what to do if that didn't happen. But Patrick Mahomes got taken the pick before her. And so she said she kind of panicked, and she took Deshaun Watson. I'm happy she took Deshaun because the next ranked quarterback would have been Dak, but
Josh
I like
hates Dak.
Deshaun more. I do. But had I known that that Mahomes would have gone, I probably would have gone with someone like Aaron Jones, who is still available, or another running back. But she did great in the rest of the draft. We got Saquon and Kareem as our starters, so
not bad, Nikita.
Yeah, I'll take it. And then our team name is kind of the most impressive part. Go ahead and guess which player we have on our team. Our team name is Always Up to Sutton.
Can I get a position?
We're going to go with ball catcher.
Oh, it's probably a tight end. Otherwise, you just would have said wide receiver. Okay, you're not going to outsmart me. Is it Vikings third string tight end Tyler Conklin? Final answer?
Yes, it is. No, Cortland Sutton and Julio Jones are starting wide receivers.
Whoa.
I'll take it in a full point PPR. But anyways, moving on, since we've speaked.
We did start the fantasy fun time 10 minutes ago already, and we have not even discussed really anything on the agenda besides the grain of salt. Josh, last year we did this, so we're not doing studs and duds as a play along challenge this year because that's a bitch and a half to manage virtually by yourself, or even with 2 people, it's tough to administer that every week all year. So we're not doing that. But for funsies, like we did last year, we are doing some season-long studs and duds. So how studs and duds work is if a player outperforms his projection, they're a stud. If they underperform their projection, they are a dud. ESPN has provided us every player's projection that we could ever want as it regards to fantasy. And so Josh and I have picked some studs, and we've picked some duds for the whole year, the whole season of 2020. Josh, who is your... Oh, and we do it by position. I guess that's worth noting. We have a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end. Why Josh hates kickers and defenses, I'll still never understand. But that's what we got.
Aren't you the one that said we should get rid of them in
the league? But now that we haven't, I mean, just saying. The one time I picked a defense as a stud or a kicker, you threw a fit, did you not?
I'm still crying about it.
See?
But I mean, yeah, they're people too, but who cares about them? I don't care about people.
Who's your stud quarterback, Josh? Let's just dive in.
Let's just say that I had no idea we were doing this until this afternoon when I saw that you had started filling this out. For some reason, when I had studs and duds was eliminated in my mind, I thought this was too, but I'm happy we kept it going because my stud at quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater.
Only the two gloves?
2 gloves. Even when he was in Minnesota, I actually liked Teddy B. I thought he was a nice kid. Felt bad for him when he got hurt. But he's only projected 205.9 points. He has weapons like CMC, who catches the ball out of the backfield, DJ Moore, and Curtis Samuel. I mean, he should get 205.9 the first week.
Hot damn.
Plus or minus 16. But hey.
Who you got? Okay, well, I was going to ask who your quarterback dud is, but I can do my quarterback stud as well. My quarterback stud is none other than the old man Rivers. I got him on my starting fantasy squad in this league. I got to put my money where my mouth is. Everyone's sleeping on the old man Riv. 224.7 is insulting. P. Riv will be putting up 6,000 fantasy points this year at a minimum. I think it's just a steal of a stud.
And for my dud, do you want to just do it that way? Stud, dud? I
love it.
For my dud at quarterback, I have Kyler Murray. I'm not saying he's going to do bad this year, but he's projected 299.7 points, which I believe would have put him at QB 6 or 7 on the season.
I don't know, just keep vamping. I can tell you in approximately 10 seconds.
And while I do think he's going to do well with the new weapon in DeAndre Hopkins, Kenyon Drake has proven himself to be a pass catcher out of the backfield. I do not think that he's going to finish that high. I do think that he's going to struggle at some point during the season. It's only his second season, so they do have some tape on him now. But 300 is just a lot for a quarterback.
For what it's worth, that would have been good enough for QB6 last year, and last year Kyler put up 285.28.
Well, there you go. And that's actually pretty impressive. I didn't know that. Who do you got for your dud, Gar?
My dud quarterback is old glass jaw himself, the Carson Wentz. The dude is... What's up?
Geno Smith is glass jaw.
I mean, he's also butt fumble. You can't have too many monikers.
That's Mark Sanchez.
Oh, what did you say? Geno Smith? Oh, that's right. Geno Smith. I screwed up Geno Smith and Mark Sanchez. 2 Jets quarterbacks that should...
Learn your Jets quarterback history.
Yeah, Josh, I mean, I'm so sorry. After the legend Brett Favre, did anything else matter? Jets legend Brett Favre.
True.
Anywho, old glass bones then. Old gift wrap tissue, soft tissue injuries, Carson Wentz. He is projected to do 266 this year, and I think that is laughable. And I'm not going to... Well, let's just see. If I scroll right here, can I see? Carson Wentz did 275 last year, so he did higher than what he's projected to this year, but I don't think the dude's going to play 16 fantasy games. So, truck him, dude. I'm fading the Carson Wentz, the Bison.
Moving on to running backs. I was actually kind of shocked to scroll. I think I went to the second or third page to find Josh Kelly. He's in contention to get the starting role. I mean, Austin Eckler's there, Justin Jackson at LAC, but Josh Kelly is going to be that early down back it sounds like Josh Kelly's going to win that early down back role, and Austin Eckler is going to be focused more on that third down, second down, and obviously get some first and second because he is technically their starter. But Josh Kelly is projected 82.6 points on the season, and I have a feeling that he's going to surpass that and then some. Gar, you've got a face of confusion on right now. What's going on?
I mean, your supposed news that Joshua Kelly is in contention for the starting role is...
Early down.
Even so, that is a farce. Austin Eckler was their one and only for a good chunk of the season last year, so I don't know why you think they would be taking a rookie over a proven commodity that they just extended, Austin Eckler.
Injuries. I know a guy.
It's fucking Tyrod Taylor over there with a fucking police baton just sitting there slashing shins or what?
No, you can't go for the shin if you want a long-term injury. What are you, a noob?
I don't know. I cannot say I've ever had a I've never had turf toe. I can tell you that.
I just I feel like he's going to get his touches when it comes time. When they start off the season 1-7, they're just going to be like, all right, let's see what the rookie can do.
I'll concede that Joshua Kelly will probably outperform 82.6 fantasy points, but I disagree with literally every other single word you said.
That's fine. The exceeding 82.6 is the only thing I care about.
There you go. All right, my stud running back. So I'm
seeing a trend.
What's that?
Aren't these all guys on your fantasy team?
Josh, I got to put my money where my mouth is. And no, I don't have Randall Cobb because your wife stole him from me. But what I was going to say is I must disclose that originally I had Phillip Rivers, Marlon Mack, and Michael Pittman as my first three guys. I was like, they all play for the same team. I might be a little over invested in the Colts offense. So I changed the running back and the wide receiver just so I wouldn't be a stooge like that or a rube. But obviously, I think highly of the Colts this year. Anywho, my running back is Mark Ingram. For some reason, the Ravens draft one rookie running back who, again, looks promising out of college, but assume that Mark Ingram is going to get faded hard. They're just projected 159.8 fantasy points, and I'm almost positive he had more than that last year. And there's really no sign of this guy slowing down. He is their goal line guy, so he's going to get a lot of the touchdowns. He is in an electric offense that doesn't just rely on him, so it's not like there's going to be 2-3 linebackers looking for him at the line every game, every play. I don't get it. Mark Ingram will definitely outperform his 160.
Yeah, I actually thought that as well. But I'm going to pull a line out of your book and say I agree with that he's going to outperform 160, but I disagree with everything that you said.
For what it's, and I will just also say this: last year, Mark Ingram put up 242.5, so they're projecting him to do almost 100 less points.
I was trying to find that. Granted, he also came out of nowhere because I don't think anybody projected him to do that much last season either.
No, certainly not.
I think because he's the reason I took second in the league, him and Cortland Sutton. But I took Mark Ingram in like round 12, 10, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so no one projected him to do well last season even. I do think 160 is a bit low, but J.K. Dobbins seems to be the real deal. Mark Ingram got injured last season near the end of the season with a calf injury. So obviously he's in his 30s, or he is 30. So he's getting up there in age. I wouldn't be surprised if they did him starting and then slowly work that rookie in. That's kind of why I picked him up in most of the leagues, J.K. Dobbins, is because he was still available late. And I do think that he has a potential to take over at least a 50% timeshare, something similar to what the Jones Williams bit did when McCarthy was in town in Green Bay. As far as duds go, I may have put my dud in after you put your dud in as just
little retaliation
spite. No, I put Delvin Cook. He's projected 289.8, not because he's a Viking, just because he has not played a full 16 games yet. Losing Diggs means that they'll have additional guys to put in the box to kind of hamper him from getting yards. Plus, I'm going to steal probably your point, the regression in touchdowns is probably going to happen as well, because he started off the season very hot in touchdowns. I don't see that happening. Is he going to be a top 10 running back? Absolutely. Is he going to be top 2? Probably not.
Ugh. Top 10 is not bad, though. We'll take it.
I mean, Aaron Jones finished top 10 last year.
He finished second in our league, for what it's worth. Anywho, moving on to what Josh already referenced, already preluded to, my running back dud for the year is Aaron Jones. Not because I think he's bad, but so he's projected at 240.4, to be clear, first of all. Second of all, last year, they're already fading him hard because he put up 314.8 last year in our full PPR league. But the dude also had 16 touchdowns. That's a lot of fucking touchdowns. And then on top of that, he had 49 receptions for another 500 yards. Even if there's, some regression there, he'll be coming down hard. And it's not because I don't think he's good, but who's behind him right now? Still Jamal, right?
Jamal, and then AJ Quadzilla.
Right. And just looking at the legs, not hearing a single report out of training camp, not knowing a single thing about the player other than what his quads look like. If that guy doesn't get every single goal line touch this year, those guys are fucking stooges. So
I don't think he's actually practiced once during training camp because they can't find pants big enough to fit him.
He just rips right off him.
Yeah. They say, AJ, you got to stop flexing, bud. You're ripping through all our pants. We just gave you Phil Lodeholt's pants from Minnesota, and you ripped right through them.
Child, those are some big pants,
right?
But yeah. Anyways, I'm fading Aaron Jones.
Okay. Do what you want. No, I'm just kidding. I feel like that's fair. Nobody saw him coming out like he did last season. I do think he's better than 240. I honestly am shocked that Delvin. I'm not shocked that Delvin's projected 290, but I'm shocked that Delvin is projected 50 points more than Aaron Jones, when I believe Aaron Jones finished 50 points more than him last season. Somewhere close to there.
Aaron Jones was 314, and then Dalvin Cook was 292, so 20.
Math checks out. Yep, 50. Moving on, wide receivers.
And Dalvin Cook didn't play last 2 games.
Right. Yep. No, I remember that because he was part of the 3 guys at 19 touchdowns, I believe I said.
Oh, yeah, for your guest last year? Yeah.
Yep. Anyways, moving on to wide receivers. I do think both of them are going to have top 10 seasons, though. I will go out there on the record and say that.
Wow, what a guy. What a limb.
Moving up to, do you want me to extend that limb? Top 6? Both of them top 6 seasons?
No balls, you won't. No balls.
You're right, I won't. Wide receiver. I have none other than the alien lizard. To those noobs out there, that's Alan Lazard, Green Bay's number 2. I came in hot on him last season, saying that he's going to finish the year as the number 2 wide receiver once Devontae went down with injury. He did exactly that, and then also came in as the number 2 this season. We're going to ignore the fact that Devin Funchess opted out early on, so he would have been the number 2, but we're going to ignore that. I do like Alan Lazard as a number at. He's only projected 132.7. I do like him getting more than that. Is he going to get a lot more? Unlikely, but he is a great pass catcher. He proved himself to Rodgers, and that's really what you need to do as a wide receiver in Green Bay is prove yourself to Rodgers. Garlic, who is your stud?
I will go out on a limb after we just destroyed each other's home team. I will go out and say I do think Alan Lazard is poised for a big season. I think 132.7 is insulting. I have Alan Lazard on at least like 2 or 3 of my fantasy teams. So the fact that this guy is available in like the 14th, 15th round is ridiculous. I'm thinking big things out of Lazard. Anywho, my wide receiver stud, another Packers classic, not a Packers current, but a Packers classic. I have the old Randall Cunningham Cobb. I don't know what his actual middle name is, but it should be Blue Eyes. You've seen Randall Cobb's eyes. Those things will pierce your soul.
Have I seen that? Oh my God, it's my background.
Anyways, if you haven't seen Randall Cobb's eyes, just go ahead and Google Randall Cobb's eyes, and you'll be blown away.
Make sure you're wearing old pants.
The dude's a husky. Anyways, he's projected currently 126.8. And for anyone not familiar, Randall Cobb is currently, as of this second, the 3rd wide receiver on the depth chart of the Houston Texans. But if you know anything about the 2 receivers that are in front of him, Brandon Cooks, old bumped and bruised, can't stay on the same team for more than a year, Brandon Cooks. And then old, if Carson Wentz is glass bones, what is Will Fuller? Jelly tissue?
No, because I would think that Will Fuller is more fragile than jelly tissue.
Whatever he is, to not play out the bit too long. The first 2 receivers in front of Randall Cobb are both stooges. And Randall Cobb could be the number 1 receiver on the Texans by week 3. Let's just put it that way. And so he saw 83 targets last year. He hauled in 53 receptions, I believe, last year with the Dallas Cowboys. Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott, even to Josh's chagrin, are comparable. The offenses are comparable. There's no reason Randall Cobb can't have a beast of a year given his opportunity and the stooges in front of him.
I give Dak a lot of crap, but he is a decent quarterback. I'm just more of a hater on Jerry Jones, Troy Aikman. Those are really the only Cowboys that I can remember hating.
For what it's worth, Jerry Jones was never a cowboy, so to speak.
True, but why do you explain all the pictures of him wearing assless chaps and spurs?
Well, that kind of cowboy shirt. He was never a Dallas Cowboy football player. How's that?
Right. No, I understand that part.
More of a Brokeback Mountain type cowboy is what you're getting at.
The hate for Troy Aikman only came about after listening to him call some games and just how one-sided it can get sometimes. Not to say that he's not allowed to have his own favorites. I do like your pick, though. As far as being a number one, I actually don't think that he does as well as a number one after watching him try and take on that role when Jordy Nelson went down with the ACL tear. So if Brandon Cooks were healthy and Cobb was the number two, I could see him surpassing that by about 7,000.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. Well, then week 2 happens.
Duh, you haven't done that bit yet this year. Christ.
Right?
I almost thought you forgot about it.
Yeah. Moving on. I had to copy you in at least one thing because so far I would have had Mark Ingram and Randall Cobb as my studs, but I chose to pick someone else since I did this after you. I went Mike Evans as my dud. So if you want to chime in at any time you can, just because we have the same one, it looks like. He's projected 240.2. Chris Godwin came out last year. Tom Brady can't throw the deep ball. And they have Gronk, so they already have a big man. Garlic, don't roll your eyes. You know he can't throw the deep ball. He's a good quarterback, but he's not a deep
he can
ball thrower.
certainly throw the deep ball. There's nothing wrong with his ability to throw a deep ball.
Except for the fact he can't. Anyways.
Based on what?
My hatred. No, I don't hate Tom Brady. But I don't think he's going to do as well because they do have Gronk coming in. They do have Chris Godwin. They have somebody by the name of, what's their third string?
Scotty Miller, yep.
Yep. They have Scotty Miller in town.
OJ Howard, did you say him yet?
They have Rojo, who, well, he still can't catch, but he's going to catch more than OJ Howard. And then now they added Fournette. And they have LaShawn McCoy. So there's plenty of mouths to feed. And Tom Brady likes to get the ball to his running back. He knows not to force the ball. Even if their wide receiver has a chance at 50-50 balls, like Mike Evans would usually win. So it'll be interesting to see. Just because he has more weapons, meaning Tom Brady, doesn't mean he's going to utilize those weapons like Mike Evans. 240.2 is too high for me. Garlic, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, Josh summed up many of my thoughts eloquently right there. I'll just continue by saying, to Mike Evans' credit, he is a perpetually and perennially banged up guy, as we all know in these years, as he has been the last couple of years, I should say. But he did get 232 fantasy points last year, so 240 isn't that big of a stretch, especially if he's healthy. But I don't think he'll be healthy. And I think Tom Brady's got too many other options. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Mike Evans era, at least in Tampa Bay, is over. And I'll leave it at that.
So of those 240, does it factor in? I mean, you got to factor in week 1. Because did he put up 50-some in week 1?
I'm just looking at the season long. I couldn't tell you.
Garlic, I thought you were good at your job.
I'm not going to pull up all 16 weeks for all players we're talking about.
He's one of those boomer bust players. And while those are, they're fun to have when they boom, not so fun to have when they bust. Because I remember having him a couple years ago when he put up 40 one week, 0 1 week. So I just avoid Mike Evans at all costs. Granted, quarterback play is a big thing there. Moving on to tight end. I have the newly added tight end, Taysom Hill, projected 72.7. I feel like Sean Payton likes to run some tricks up his sleeve. He has some tricks up his sleeve. And so Taysom Hill, he's proven himself to be a pass catcher, a runner, a returner, a catcher, a thrower, and everythinger. So I actually do believe he's going to get some more time on the field with Breeze as a tight end. 72.7, while probably pretty accurate, it was more of a safe pick. So if he gets 70 or 75, hey, I didn't lose many points.
There you go. That's the spirit. I like the Taysom Hill is a sneaky smart pick, and I wish I would have thought of it. But because I didn't think of it, I'll say that's kind of a cheap cheating pick just so I can delegitimize anything you're doing. But internally, I think that's a smart, good pick because if he's being scored as a tight end and he can do all those other things, he'll easily surpass 72.7. But I've
learned over the years, Gar, that anything that you hate that I love, it just means that internally you like it. Green Bay Packers, Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers. Yeah, need I go on?
I will say I would be inclined to like Aaron Rodgers a lot more would he not be on the Packers. But then again, he's still a douchebag. Moving on
I'm not going to disagree.
Moving on to my stud tight end, Josh. I have the Hayden Hurst. He's currently projected 142.6. For anyone who's been paying attention at all to the fantasy offseason, if you're listening to the fantasy footballers or the fantasy pros or just about anyone else who pretends to know anything about fantasy, they are projecting Hayden Hurst to have a big year because the Atlanta Falcons go ahead and, I don't know if they traded him or if his contract expired, but they go ahead and shipped Austin Hooper out of town, okay? Austin Hooper is now a Cleveland Brown. And then I know the Falcons traded for Hayden Hurst. Last year, Hayden Hurst was the backup to Mark Andrews, who we will talk about in just a bit. But to put it in perspective, Austin Hooper last year had 191.7 fantasy points as a tight end in the Falcons offense. So if we're going to assume that Hayden Hurst comes in and has the same role that Austin Hooper does, because I don't think anyone on paper says their talent level is that different, Hayden Hurst should already have 50 more points on that projection. And if he's better than Austin Hooper, it's even more. So I think it's an easy stud pick. For what it's worth, I was thinking about going really deep on this one and going for like a Blake Jarwin out of Dallas or going for even a Dan Arnold all the way down in Arizona, who's projected as like the tight end 30 or 40 something. He's behind a lot of backups in the league, but I went with Hayden Hurst as what I thought would be the safest stud option, despite him having the highest floor of all the guys I looked at. Josh, who was your tight end Dudsky?
Yeah, sorry, I was pulling up ESPN rankings, and I'm sure we've got listener out there, Blake's friend Drake, Blake's other friend Jake. I'm sure that they're going, these guys are idiots.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, because the studs and the duds are usually guys that would be rosterable. And so, those Dan Arnold, I don't know if I'm I don't think a 32 person league would have Dan Arnold on a roster.
Let it be known, Dan Arnold is on my Deflate These Balls team.
That's a dynasty league. You're praying for injuries.
It's an Empire League, first of all, and it's barely an Empire League, and you know it.
That's true. Management sucks. But like Taysom Hill, he's actually on some rosters. I think Brad has him. Well, then again, maybe he isn't a good pick. I actually like your Hayden Hurst pick for stud. But yes, while these are typically rosterable players, we don't care. Numbers are all we care about.
We're playing the game, people. We're trying to win the game. You play to win the game.
Moving on to duds, I put Darren Waller. He started off hot last season. He's projected 188.4. I do think he's a great player. I do also think that last year was kind of his coming out party and that he's going to regress slightly, especially now that they have Henry Ruggs and some other options for pass catching. They found out Hunter Renfrow, who's a white guy who was actually selling hot dogs during the preseason, and they just happened to find him. He's going to be there as well. Josh Jacobs has another year under his belt. So Darren Waller, while I think he's good, 188.4, just a little too high for my blood.
I respect it. For what it's worth, last year, to put in perspective, he did put up 221 fantasy points last year, 221. But regression is certainly possible at the level he went last year. So, Josh, I saw for my tight end dud, you had gone in and you had actually deleted the name, and I had to go in and put it back in all caps, which makes it undeletable. Do you want to tell me why you went ahead and deleted the name that I put in for my tight end dud, Josh?
Well, one, I was going to put him, and two, you're mean.
Are you and Mark Andrews like best friends or something? Is there a reason you're not on the sidelines at every Ravens game?
Do you want to see my new tattoo?
Yeah, let's see it.
No, I can't show that on the camera. No, there's no reason behind it. I do think that he's going to regress. He was pretty touchdown heavy last season. I will admit that. Granted, it came into my benefit in every league because I drafted him in every league. But part of this regression is because I just think that entire Ravens offense is going to regress. I don't think Lamar Jackson is worth his draft position in a lot of leagues. Is he going to do well? Probably. He's probably going to be, in the top 3, probably. Top 5 for sure, top 3 probably as far as quarterbacks go. But Mark Andrews, 200 points. Why am I talking about your dud? The only reason I would say that he's still going to be one of those top 3 tight ends, in the top 3 conversation, is that they did get rid of Hayden Hurst, who did take away some of his catches and touchdowns last season, because Hurst had an okay year last year, despite being tight end 2, 3, I don't know, because they ran a 3 tight ends. But I do think that he is going to underperform his 200 projection.
Wow, Josh, you agreed. And I'll be honest, the only reason I put him in is because I think he'll regress. Last year, he was tight end 5, and he put up 207. So even if we think he's going to do the same, well, if you put him at the same level as last year and go, he'll do the exact same thing, I don't think that's true. But also, what no one's talking about, and Garlic's here for, because Garlic's the big brain, okay? The dude has, as Wilford Brimley would say, diabetes. And he is at a high risk for the COVID. So I just think something will happen at some point, and precautionarily, he'll be taken out. So therefore, he can't put up fantasy points if he's not on the field. The diabetes will get you.
So there you have it, folks. Garlic is hoping for Mark Andrews to die.
Did I say that at any point? I said he will be precautionally taken out of the game because someone gets infected.
Between the lines.
It's fucked up, Josh.
No, that's actually a smart play. I did not know that about Mandrews, but hey, I wish him the best. I hope he gets 500 points.
All right, Josh, this fantasy fun time has taken a long time, but we still have a couple of things we want to talk about. Last year, we had put the notes that we would just rapid-firely give you our projected positional leaders. We're going to do it this year again. So again, this is rapid-fire. The same 4 positions, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Who do you think will be the top of the fantasy world, knowing that probably last year and the couple years before that, there were some players who were just broken. Like Lamar put up over 400 last year. CMC put up over 400 last year. Michael Thomas had like 350 last year. Like there's always that one player who's broken and OP and a step above everybody else. But assuming we don't have a player like that, or maybe you picked a player like that, just give me your top 4, quick succession. Who are your top 4 positional leaders this year? Or your top position leaders?
Drew Brees, because why not? He has a couple of hot weapons. Saquon Barkley, get ball, run ball, score ball. He's the only person on that offense. Julio Jones, if he plays 16 games, absolutely. And then Mark Andrews, just because I want to see you cry.
I read that note, and I'm just curious, why am I rooting against Mark Andrews? Like, why would I cry? Do I have a personal connection?
It was after the Capitals. I just put Mark Andrews because he is a top 5, and nobody wants to go with Kelsey every year in a row.
That's true.
Kelsey has a high chance at it, but I did like Kittle. You had already written Kittle down, and I refused to write anybody else. So Mark Andrews, go.
I feel it. My quarterback is Dak Prescott, mainly for the lulls, but also the dude was quarterback 2 last year in the standard scoring format. So assuming Lamar Jackson doesn't do fucking 417 again, I think Dak could be in there and sneakily take it. Last year for my running back, I put Dalvin. I'm going to put Dalvin again because he almost got us there. Besides CMC selfish ass hogging up all the fucking PPR points, but Dalvin, if you play a full year, you could definitely be in the conversation. Julio
was he
Jones,
number 2 last year? Who was number 2 last year?
Dalvin was not number 2 last year. Earlier I said Aaron Jones was number 2 last year.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to hear you say it again.
I mean, again, playing 2 less games, Dalvin Cook was number 6. So
holy hell, cut him.
I know. For wide receiver, I also put Julio, and for what it's worth, I put Julio first. But just because this guy, I won't deny it. I projected Julio to regress and fade like 2-3 years ago, and he absolutely has not. And I traded him away on at least one dynasty team, if not multiple. And the dude bit me in the ass for it. So why can't he be number 1? Matt Ryan's still slinging the ball. There's no reason this guy can't be a stud. Calvin Ridley's important to cover too, so it's not like Julio's getting tripled every game. Julio, and then I'm not going rapid fire, so Kittle. He's the only guy in San Fran that can catch the ball at this point. Kittle, even if he's quadruple covered, he'll have 10 million points. Boom.
Play along. challenge competitors.
Yeah, Josh. So again, this has been a long fantasy fun time, but we are doing the podcast play along challenge this year, and I think it would be important just to at least once list off the players. So I'm sure you don't have it up in front of you, but I do have it up in front of me. We have 20 people total playing along, including Josh and I. So that is 18 others, because 20 was the maximum that I saw that we could have. And just going in the order that FanDuel put them on the current standings, even though everyone has 0 score, we'll just read them off. Current first overall, maybe FanDuel knows something we don't. The Alex Williams, host of the Land of 10,000 Plus Coons podcast. Then we have Joshua Mitchell. You're second, Josh. You're going to come in second. Not bad. Not bad.
Hey, round of applause.
Number 3 is the aforementioned Jordan Bates. Number 4 is the Midget Man, Jalen Swanson. I come in at number 5. Number 6 is the guy who was supposed to commission this year, Mr. Jalters, a.k.a. Ryan Walters. Number 7 is the Skybusters emailer, Big Knocker, Brian Knupp. Then we have Nikita Mitchell, a.k.a. the real pants wearer in the relationship, Nikita Bunker.
Not going to deny it.
Number 9, we have the shit abyss himself, Shorty McGee, Tyler Lawrence. Then we have Carrot, 21, a.k.a. Derek Schultz at 10. Chasing Big Bass is going to be the Bassmaster Saiyan, Kyle Jevdogger. We have Jack Vickers, Mehoff 2017 at 12th. Condog 69420 is AIDS Ted, a.k.a. Connor Praske. 14 is Vinegar Strokes 47, a.k.a. Aaron, some German last name I can't pronounce. Used to work at Home Depot. Number 15 is Levi Oki. We got the Levi Oki illustration in our FanDuel Play-Along Challenge, Josh. What a steal. Then we have Bradley Knupp 47. At 16, at number 17, we have a guy no one's ever met but me, Jacob Milcheski, a guy I used to work at the Wells Fargo with. We needed a couple spots to fill. I thought Jacob would be great for this. I'm interested to see how he performs. At number 18, we have Big Cush 74, a.k.a. David Cushing, another guy I used to work with at the Wells Fargo. At number 19, we have Quinn Dessum. I'm not sure what that name is supposed to be, but that's Garrett. I don't know why he wanted to be something weird. And then at number 20, we have Responsibilities. Or maybe that's supposed to be a funny word, but I don't know. But they put in Responsibilities, and it's Jesse. So, Jesse at the bottom of the pack where he belongs.
I was just going to say, Jesse, how'd you get in this league?
So that's who we're playing with. So if you ever hear me reference their screen name, and I never say the real name, I listed them once, so that's the real name, and that's how you'll know them. Josh, have you set your FanDuel lineup yet?
I have.
Have you paid for your FanDuel Play-Along Challenge yet?
I have not.
You and one other person has not paid, Josh. You've probably seen it. Who? You and this one other person. Who is it? Who's not paid me yet?
I've already seen it. I will admit it's Kyle.
It is. You and Kyle have not paid yet.
Yep. And I actually pulled it up to pay you earlier today, and I thought that maybe it might be a fun bit to just pay you while we talk.
Are you now remembering that was a bit that you had planned earlier?
No, I was actually looking at the next part of the fantasy fun time to try and get ready for that.
Nice.
And then I realized I should probably pay you. So hang on, guard. $10,000 coming your way.
Excellent.
Note can't be empty.
Ooh.
Bam.
Anyways, Josh, moving on to the last portion of the fantasy fun time. I know this was a long one, folks. I promise it won't be this long.
It will not, because I get bored real quick.
Right. And we still got 2 other things to talk about, though they'll be very quick. This is the budget bunch, Josh. Plain and simple. We're going to go through a player or 2 each week that we think is a steal. If you're stacking your team with studs, you need someone who comes in at a cheap option. We should probably set a limit for what this budget bunch can be, like a dollar amount, but we haven't this week. So, Josh, are there any steals you saw in the FanDuel when you were setting your lineup? Be like, man, this guy should definitely be in your lineup for the dollar amount he currently is.
Christian McCaffrey. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I'm scrolling through right now and just kind of going with that truthiness feel. I'm seeing Anthony Miller at 5,400 going up against the Detroit defense. Mitch Trubisky is going to be thrown to Allen Robinson a lot, so that means Anthony Miller is going to get lots of catches because Trubisky's aim is awful. But no, Anthony Miller started out the season great last year. Detroit's pass defense is pretty spotty. His current value on FanDuel is $5,400. I think that he would be a great add-in if you are running low on money. He's also currently cheaper than Darius Geis,
who has been arrested and is not in the league, in case anyone was wondering. Probably should not put him on your team.
Thank you for the PSA. Gar, who'd you got?
Well, there's a couple guys I like, and I will just go rapid fire so we can get this show on the road and get out of here. I like Chris Thompson at 4,800. Perennially bad Jags offense is going up against Indy. Chris Thompson should be catching plenty out of the backfield. I also like Kareem Hunt, 5,800, going up against Baltimore. And I like Deshaun Jackson, 5,700, going up against Washington. That was the budget bunch, people. Josh, let's move on to the Hidden Oaks highlights. You ready for that?
I don't even know what that is.
It's the new segment where we're just going to talk about our fantasy league, but we're not going to talk about every team every time, and we can also talk about other things because we call it the Hidden Oaks highlights, but it's mainly fantasy stuff.
Perfect. I love it. I didn't even know about it, and I love it. How'd you draft? Perfectly. Hand me the money now. Gar, how'd you draft?
So that's the first side bet, is how'd you draft. Josh didn't title it. I titled it just real rapid fire earlier today when I sent out a text message. But yeah, it's a side bet. Most players over 11 points will get the dub. What if someone ties, Josh?
You know, I didn't think about that, but we're just going to go with whoever has the highest total score.
There you go. I like it. All right. Redraft team name updates.
And hang on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Clarify my clarification. Highest total score includes the bench.
Okay. So all the fantasy points combined.
Yes.
All right, I like it. All right, Josh, team name updates. We have not talked about the team names in a while, and this league likes to lag behind and not update their teams, but some of them have. Josh, we'll just go ahead and lift off some new team names, and we'll get your live response. We have Jesse coming in at the Mother Tuckers. How do you feel about that one?
I'm guessing as Justin Tucker,
Nailed
B-.
it. All right.
Would have been a B+ for anyone but Jesse.
You already know that I'm the Little Rivers Band, and I'm sure you won't be objective there anyway, so moving on. So have you seen Jamie's team name yet? I told you to look it up like a week or two ago.
Yes. Oh, my God. Jamie, quit being a doctor and become a fantasy football team name creator, because that is gold.
For what it's worth, Jamie has Juju Smith-Schuster on her team, and she has named herself the Shoeslingers. Shout out to Bradley Trade Home Canup.
That is like a Hidden Oaks reference times 3.
All right, then we have Bradley at Run CMC, and then we have Eric at Sequad Goals. I think he was going for squad goals, but he's Sequan, so Sequad Goals. I give that one like a C. What do you think?
C+, yeah.
All right. Then we have Jeremy didn't change his name. We have Willie. We already talked about the Catalina wine mixin. We have Garrett at the Game of Jones. We have Josh at the Campfire Strikes Back.
So double play here, kind of like Empire, but the main thing is he's coming back off the IR.
All right, Josh, I really, really do not want to have to do this to you, and we can pause and edit this later if we need to, but I really, really have to abandon you because I'm about to shit my pants. So you can either just keep going with the pod, there's 2 other things left, or you can wait for me to come back and we edit it later, but I have to go shit real bad right now. So I would ask you to keep going so then we can just end it earlier, but I'll leave it up to you. But if I sit here any longer, I'm going to explode. I'll be as fast as I can back.
All right, so while Garlic goes and expels whatever he is from his body, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the transactions since the draft. I don't think there's been a whole lot, but I will pull that up as soon as I can. And so right now I have the most transactions aside from Garlic. I'm guessing it's just players who we didn't like drafting, that sort of thing. So yeah, we're going to move on. Let's go to the topic teaser for next week. We have a new segment called the Fave Five. So the Fave Five is going to be just something kind of fun and random. So those of you who are listening who don't know us, or even if you do know us, get to find out some of our top 5 items and some specific topics. We're not going to do it this week. Instead, we're going to prep you for what to expect next week. And for those of you who do not know, or do not pay attention like I do, you will get to listen to us explain it again next week. So this is where you can tune out if you'd like. Anyways, the topic for next week is, hang on here. sports movies. So next week, Garlic and I are going to come up with our top 5 sports movies and share with you. It might be the same, might be different. Either way, you'll get to listen in. If you haven't seen them, probably recommend you seeing them. Next, we are in the outro, folks. This is where usually Garlic tells you to go to sleep, play some fancy music. I ditch out early, but since he's the one that ditched out early because, well, diarrhea is a bitch, I'm just going to go ahead and keep speaking. I'm not sure. I mean, usually he says he's done, but I think yep, there he is. He's running naked through his living room. Oh, God, that is not a lot of toilet paper. Anyways, our normal show will be in effect next week in its entirety. So you can expect to see another Fan Tasty Zone, 2-minute drill, where we will talk about our football kind of reactions to week 1, I guess is what I'd say. Not necessarily homerism, but most likely a lot about the Packers and the Vikings. But hey, it's only a minute. And then we'll dive into the fantasy fun time, and we will catch you later. Garlic's Oh, hey, Gar, how are you?
Did you keep going or no?
I did actually. I am currently at our normal show in its entirety. I was going to stay safe, but I feel like I'd throw up if I were to encourage others to stay safe. So, hey, Jalen, go lick doorknobs in a hospital.
Did you? What is the Fave Five topic for last week? Because I haven't even heard it yet.
Oh, that's right. You weren't here.
I was not. And I didn't see it listed on the spreadsheet. Sports movies. That's the first Fave Five. Did you encourage people to play along on Facebook or whatever?
No. I encourage people to listen so they know some new movies to watch.
There you go, Josh. Well, I'll take over here in the outro then. Next week, we are finally at our quote-unquote normal show. It's weird to say normal show because we do 24 a year and 7 or 8 of them are different, but the majority of our shows will be in this format. We've got football behind us. We will have football in front of us, and things will be quote-unquote back to normal. Stay safe, everybody. COVID's real. The country's on fire still, California especially. It's a weird, radical political climate. Hopefully everyone can stay out of physical violence in that realm. We're at 20 out of 100 subscribers on YouTube. Be a friend, tell a friend. Please help us get to that 100. HiddenOaksOverdose@gmail.com, Facebook.com/hoodpod, Anchor.fm/hoodpod. Those are all the places you can interact with the show. Josh, anything else you want to say to the folks?
Did Blake tune in?
I'll check the chat one more time, but I have... Oh, Brian said bye in the chat. So Brian, I guess, is watching along. I don't know if he's been watching the whole time or just came in to watch me run off and take a shit real quick, but Brian was here, so... What's up, Brian? Okay.
Hey, Brian. So Blake wasn't there?
No, we had him and we lost him, Josh. We had... Blake, baby, come back.
So cancel the gift basket?
Maybe give him a chance to comment. People can have things come up. Maybe live streams can be difficult. Give him a chance to give us a YouTube comment or a Facebook post or something. I'd say give him 1 week and then cancel it. Don't send it yet, but don't cancel the order yet either.
Okay. You hear that, Blake? If you don't tune in or give us a comment next week, you're no longer going to get your autographed Garlic and Josh bobblehead dolls sent to you by Kmart.
Oh, Kmart. What a place that used to be. The big K. Anyways, go ahead.
But I just wanted to go ahead and kind of, you know how people have horns and sometimes you can toot them?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm just going to toot my own horn here and just say that on our Fave Five list, once you look at the list, number 1 is sports movies. If I type number 2 enter, it'll give us a number 2. Song intros.
Oh,
it's a random list generator.
Nice. And so we are making a rough schedule, but if anyone has any suggestions for Fave 5 options, please let us know, and we might pivot mid-season if it's a good one.
I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. If we get a suggestion, that will be the next show's topic.
I mean, I think you got to do a week in advance. You got to give us a chance to tease it on one show and then do it the week after. So you got to. If someone suggests it's on a Tuesday, it shouldn't be that Wednesday. It should be the following, in my opinion.
Oh no, we'll talk about the suggestion on the next show. So
right,
obviously, sports movies is the next one. So then let's just say we talk about our sports movies. Seabiscuit. That's the number 1 sports movie
classic
of all time.
Yep.
Our next week's topic is podcasts. between then and there, we'd talk about podcast would be our topic. But then if someone were to comment between sports, movies, and podcasts, after we're done with our podcast list, we'd say, we have a lovely participant who suggested we talk about our top 5 numbers in the alphabet.
Won't be the worst thing in the world. Anyways, we should probably get going. I will shout out to Brian one more time in the chat. He put new team name, the Poopy Boys. So this fucking guy is really trying to gaslight me right now. That's the disrespect and the sunlight shining in my eyes. Somehow this is Brian's fault too. Go tuck yourself in, Brian. If you didn't hear the beginning of the show, go back and listen. I responded to your proposal, Stan. Josh.
So I'm guessing Brian has Odell, huh?
Oh, Brian, if you don't know the news around Odell Beckham, you should probably Google it, but maybe not on the work computer. All right, Josh, we're going to let the people go to
Google
sleep.
image search.
We got to go. Oh, Christ.
God, if I had a nickel.
We tried. The fantasy fun time got so long. We were going to be out of here in under an hour for sure. It won't be like I guarantee, money back guarantee, next week we'll be out in under an hour.
Oh, no, I guarantee it as well. But we had a lot of topics. I drank 750 milliliters of alcohol.
That was a thick beer, dude. That was a mini keg in your hand.
It's gone. It was delicious.
Did you even eat the can? You look around like you're looking for the can, like it disappeared.
Well, hey, I've had enough to where I'm looking for all 3 of the cans.
Christ.
Yeah. Gonna be on the box later?
Yeah, I should be on the box right after. Well, I've got that fantasy draft, so I might not be on the box until 8-ish. We'll see how fast that goes.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go eat some tacos because it's Taco Tuesday on a Wednesday. And yeah.
Rock on, man.
Oh, by the way, next Wednesday I am busy, so that's when we'll have to reschedule.
So